How much younger do I look without a beard? Is this angle all right? Can you see me? I don't like it. Look like how much you can see like the muscles and shit in my face. Reveals too much. I actually feel like when I have a beard, it's like gives me power. Spiritual wizard power. Um, let's talk about some shit. What's going on with you? How are you? Good. Um, I got my suit, by the way. These are vitamins, not drugs. Um, I used to have really bad acne when I was in high school, and then they put me on Accutane, which is a megadose of vitamin A, which is liver toxic, causes birth defects and a bunch of other shit. But everyone in the world would rather have that than cystic acne on their face. And then what I come to understand is pantothenic acid, which is a B vitamin, I think it's B5, does exactly the same thing with less of a dose and is not toxic to your body at all. So every now and then, it's summer, like I'm getting like, especially after the gym, you get a little bit oily or whatever. Then I could see like the first, I had a pimple on my temple or something, and I was like, no, none of that shit. Take a couple of these, knocks it out, um, without damage. Shouldn't that be an option? All right, so what's happening in my life? Um, I met someone yesterday who is very successful, and he's like, I guess he's famous on social media. And before I met him, everyone kept saying, "Oh, you guys are the same. You guys are the same. Like, you're buff, and you talk about energy and spirituality and all this stuff." And it's like right away, everything that we talked about was like, "Yeah, yes, that too. Yep, yep." And then he asked me if I knew about. He's like, "Do you know about this company, about this person?" And I was like, "Yeah, this guy." Um, and then he's like, "Yeah, he's like I've heard of this guy." And then he said, "Yeah, he's gonna come to you for some work on his car." So it's interesting. I would say, I would say a year or two ago that I wanted to manifest that and be this guy's friend, the the guy that he's referring to, and that someone that guy's friends with is like an unofficial hero of mine, and I had a dream to meet that guy as well. I'm gonna be specific. I'm gonna be vague, not specific. Um, but I realize that there are things that I intuitively feel or know that I keep to myself for fear of things not working out. It's this tendency to be pessimistic, this tendency to not get my hopes up because what if? And I realized that feeling is the secret. So I need to be having hope. Now, on that subject, um, I don't know what day it was. I got a random text from my ex, and she revealed something like just out of the blue is just something. personal. Like, how do you deal with this? And I talked a little bit. I responded, and I was like, I've gone through that exact thing, and it's part of becoming who you're meant to be. And um, while we were together, any thoughts or suggestions I had to improve or grow spiritually was met really harshly. It was met by her ego, the gatekeeper of hell. The the ego wants to keep her in hell. Um, and then, from what I know, people don't grow in relationships; they grow out of them. You have to grow alone, and everyone needs to experience their dark night of the soul to know who they are. In my opinion, anyone who gets married before they do the dark night, unless they're with their soulmate, you'll either fuck it up or you're marrying for other reasons, not for spiritual ones. So you get married because you like the same TV shows and the same music and the same. It's like superficiality, superficial stuff. Whereas, like, if this is a spiritual world, there's a soul. The soul needs to be full, and these things unfortunately don't fill your soul. It might feel like it to some people. Music is my life. It's like, yeah, you got nothing else going on. That's why everybody loves music. You fuck. Um, so it was interesting because if my emotions were out of the relationship, I would have called out, like, this is what will happen. I will trigger her, and then she's going to figure things out on her own, and then she's going to grow and then go on her dark night and follow the path that I followed because I've said in all of these, she's smarter than I am, so she's starting earlier. She's more capable. She probably won't get stuck as long as I did. Um, but like things that I had to learn slowly, I suppose, with the benefit of having someone who's done it. Like when you haven't seen the path, when no one's told you what happens, you can stay forever at the same level. Some people will live and die at the same level. They'll never get they'll never get upgraded. They'll never get to the you know next point. But for me and her specifically, we have very similar personality. I think we have a similar upbringing, um, which, if not healed, it can be very triggering, which it was very triggering. And when you're triggered, you're protecting yourself. You're not thinking clearly. So you're not thinking what's going to happen down the road. You're thinking with your emotions. So my emotions, it was like, this person is incapable of meeting my needs or loving me. So I became guarded. And then when you're guarded, you just start acting like an asshole. It's like that's the thing we do is protect ourselves. So I know by her shield, she's very guarded. It means she's super soft on the inside, um, just like me, just like my sister. Like the hard shell is to protect the soft insides. Um, so in my case, like, I had to separate myself from my mom's energy, like physically be separate long enough to figure out and hear my own higher self and my own intuition and my own voice and to establish what my voice is. My mom was very like, she's never drank in her life. She's very strict and all these things. And then part of me breaking away from, I never had the intention to do any of those things. But because she was saying this is how it should be, like, fuck you, I'll do whatever I want. I'll do all the drugs, all at the same time, even. Like, that's the something you gotta be careful as a parent. It's like when you're too, you see, like, in very religious, like the Duggar family, like that the oldest one was starting to fuck the other ones. weird shit happens. Like you gotta like give them some leeway. Otherwise, it creates a bigger problem, frankly, um, than the one you're trying to solve. So uh, I need to not just set like boundaries with my mom, but like set a physical boundary so that instead of hearing, give you an example, you hear other people's voices in your head and you don't know that it's not you. You think these thoughts and these desires are you. Now, what I mean by that is I was friends with a guy at the gym. I wouldn't have chosen to be friends with this guy I was introduced to him. I don't really talk to anyone at the gym. I don't want to, frankly. Even people that I know and recognize, the entire time I'm thinking, how do I get out of this conversation? How do I return to what I was doing? You get kind of stuck. And I came here to work out, not socialize. And this guy's like the mayor of the gym. He talks to everybody. It's his social hour. So he's going through a hard time. And of course, my dumbass is like, let me help. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So I get involved at a certain point in my life when I retreated from all the other friends I had. He was the only person I socialized with for a period of time. And I'm going to tell you a story. I don't want to make a judgment on him. I know why he's like this. I know it's not his fault. And just because I don't think like this doesn't mean my way is right. So that is the preface. If we were talking mid conversation, I could see his eyes just, if he would follow. And I'm like telling him something serious, like, yeah, so that's how everyone I know died in a fire. And yeah. And he'd be like, did you see her ass? And I was like, no, I didn't. He's like, look. And initially I was like, dude, no, because that's, it's not something I want to do. She didn't come here for me to stare at her ass to begin with. Uh, and it was like so brazen. It was like he would say things loud enough for the person to hear, and then it looks like I'm participating in this. It made me uncomfortable. And I remember like I vocalized it a couple times, like I like stop doing that. It's like if you're talking to me, talk to me. If you want to look at people, look at people. But eventually, look, I would look. He'd say something, then I would say something, and then I realized that when he wasn't there, I was still, the voice was in my head. Look, I would do this, I would do that, and it's a weird thing to catch yourself doing. All of a sudden, I was like, this isn't me. I stopped going to the gym. Then I'd feel good. I'd feel like myself again. Then I'd return to the gym, talk to him. I'd hear all the gossip of everybody in the gym. And then I'd be like, what the fuck? What's going on with me? I'd feel drained. I'd feel like my life isn't going well. Then I journaled about this a long time ago where I said that gossip is a I don't want to say sin, but it's breaking spiritual law. You're exchanging negative energy with someone about other people. You're making judgments on other people. All these things are it's not positive. Guarantee it's not positive. At the very least, you're wasting your time. So take it for what it's worth. Imagine Persian girls, how much their entire life is about gossiping. Um, so the same thing happens with your parents. Like you have a voice. In my case, like when I was little, my mom would volunteer at the school and like just sit in my class and watch me. She would volunteer at the library and control what books I could. I wanted to fucking read about dinosaurs and shit because maybe autism. And she'd be like, "No, you can't get a book about the fucking Allosaurus, the coolest looking one." And I was like, "Okay, can I get this book?" And it was the Stinky Cheese Man. She's like, "Yes." It's like, "What are we doing here? How are you helping? This you're not helping, mom. The best intentions, please fuck off." I went to field trips, and she came to field trips. Why do you think it's weird for me to interact with people, I wonder? I wasn't allowed to be my own person. And then, furthermore, I was always responsible for an adult's feelings, and being stuck in fight or flight as a child, you can't fight and you can't fly. I would disassociate. I would literally daydream about flying the fuck away. I literally, I remember I don't know, I had a really bad teacher in fourth grade. Um, an absolute cunt. Mrs. Pataki, if you're alive still, I'm sure it's part of your torture, you cunt. She she was very mean to me. She would call on me. She knew I wouldn't do my homework, and then she'd call on me to embarrass me. And because she would ridicule my homework, I stopped. I would do my homework at home because I didn't want to get hit, and then I wouldn't turn it in. And my parents were like, "How the fuck are you losing it from here to here?" I would just throw it in the trash. So then they started having my brother turn it in for me. It's like, okay, drop his homework off, and then I would sit there in class and think like, if I could fly right now, I would fly through that door, and I would. This is where I would go, and I would be free. I would literally just all the day. Every time I got like a what things, the tumbleweed thing that you blow on, I wish for flying. I wanted to escape. I wanted to escape home, school, everything. I didn't like any of it. Um, and I was stuck. It's like many times I like imagined I could. I knew I couldn't get anywhere. I wouldn't get far. They'll always find me when I don't want them to. They ignore me when I'm here, but um, I remember there's this Persian New Year celebration called Seiz Dabidat, and I was a kid and I got lost. No one was watching me, and I was lost the whole day. So eventually, some lady is like, "Are you lost?" And I just started crying, and she took me to the police. Then I hung out with the police till nighttime. Like it took that long for these motherfuckers to figure out. Wait, where's that thing we made? Um, and then they blame me. It's like you're always daydreaming and getting lost. It's like I'm a child, you know. It's not my. It's everyone's fault but me right now. Um, anyways, that is my specific like how I you know this is my cross to bear. Who I like. That child had to become an adult and function in society, and I have these specific things that created a personality that created certain fears and neurosis and whatever for me to get over. So imagine fear of public speaking for a kid like that. And then it's like, I, mm, I wouldn't say it's something I seek out, but it's something I'm good at, I would say. Um, and I kind of pretend that I'm not, just kind of for fun. So, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Fuck you, I know exactly what I'm doing. And I'm funny. Um, but that's, you can overcome these demons, so to speak. So I would say my ex is going through something similar, like discovering these types of things and realizing that um, I think she is a caretaker for someone. She's responsible for someone's feelings, someone's well-being. So she's in her masculine energy, and she doesn't have any more energy when it comes to a relationship. Her relationship, uh, her battery's completely drained. So then when she seeks a relationship or when she seeks even friendships or fun or whatever, it's the type of uh, unfulfilling, numbing type of thing, which of course becomes less and less fulfilling. It fills the gap less and less. So my assumption, my intuition was like, I think that we met for a reason. I don't think there are any accidents in this universe. And then I was struggling to figure what the fuck is it? Is it because all that happened is I felt depleted from the relationship. Like she stayed the same, and I felt depleted. I lost my path a little bit, and then I had to find it again. And now, like now that I'm in my, now that I have energy again, and everything's is, and I'm open, and I'm not afraid of having an open heart. All of a sudden now, the things that I assumed were true, which is that I was meant to trigger something in her for her to start her path of individuation. Now it seems like that's happening. Um, if my emotions weren't involved, I would have said that from the beginning. It's like that. Oh, this is going to happen. This is why. You can you can deduce, basically. I'm not telling the future. It's like, oh, this is what that's for. That's what it's for. It's why we get hurt. That's why we meet people. That's like, everything's for something. And now, in my absence, I suppose I'm physically absent, but I'm there for her emotionally. Which sometimes I'm like, how much am I supposed to make available? Because it is still a one-way street. Like my needs aren't ever close to being met for whatever this relationship is. But I know that I'm learning unconditional love. And unconditional love is not, I give you this, so you give me that. It's like, I would say that she's never done anything since I met her to earn my love. But that's the type of logic that I grew up with. It's like, no one has to earn love. You deserve to be loved anyways, right? You don't have to do anything right. You don't have to do anything that I like. You don't have to say anything that I like. It's like, you deserve love. I promise. So, um, it's something that I'm like trying to, like, I'll have a thought that takes me into a negative place, like I'm being depleted and this isn't fair. It's like, hey, that's imaginary. I'm connected to God. I have the most energy. You know how many cells there are in our body? You know what happens when they split the atom? One atom. 80,000 people in Hiroshima died. How many atoms am I made of? It's a lot of fucking energy. What am I doing with it? Watching fucking Rick and Morty, which was only good in the beginning seasons before they fired the fucking main guy. So, anyways, I think I think in these I was like, I think she's about to have like her spiritual thing, her spiritual, the start of the hero's journey. Um, but there's two doors. One door is appease everybody and keep going down the same path. And the other door is set strong boundaries, like physically separate herself from that thing that's always been there, you know? So she can figure out who she is and what she wants, and make an identity. And then when she does that, then she'll know that all this wishy-washy shit that I went through with her, one day on, one day off, like hour to hour, being madly in love with me and then being super, I don't know. It's like, it's because all these voices in her head, she has no idea who the fuck she is and what she wants. And me being on the receiving end, like, it reminded me of how I felt as a kid, and it's like war flashbacks immediately put me in my fight or flight. And on that subject, it's like when I read about twin flames, like the spiritual path is like you're meant to cross paths with people that are meant for your spiritual development. So every time I was hurt in my past, it was actually for my benefit. And in that logic is what allowed me, even though like when I met her, she was rude and I could tell sheltered and guarded and all this stuff. I saw enough signs of synchronicity, just like, okay, the worst thing that happens is I get hurt. And if I get hurt, it's for my benefit anyways. What am I afraid of? I've blasted through fucking hell before. What can this girl do? You know? That hasn't been done to me before. Like, use me, try to kill me. It's all happened. It's all happened. I'm still here, bitch. Anyways, I can't. I can't make choices for her. So, uh, and I know this part is something that she needs to do alone. So, in the meantime, like, I'm doing what's good for me, which is like making myself available to help when God shows me I'm supposed to be somewhere or do something, or I meet someone who's like, oh, like, let me learn from you. Let's exchange ideas. Um, I went to I went to my mom's house last night to visit. She had her cousin visiting from Austria, and I talked to him about history. Like, we were both history nerds. So we're talking about ancient Sumeria and the city of Ur, and archaeology and Egyptology, and it's something I'm interested in. And it was nice to like, it's nice to connect with someone on like a fringe topic like that. Um, and then my sister and her fiance there. The wedding is coming up in a couple weeks, so they were still deciding where they're going to be for the ceremony and this kind of stuff. Um, when I was leaving, my mom's cousin is like, "We're not going to be here for your sister's wedding, but we can come for yours." I was like, "You should just come when you feel like it. You shouldn't wait for that. First of all, I'm not inviting you. We had a great conversation, but what the fuck? $200 a plate to talk about Egyptology? I'm kidding. But if my mom's in charge of a guest list, she's not only inviting this Austrian cousin I only met once in my life, but also his mailman and, like, you know, whoever, the mailman's dog. Um, I guess that's kind of goes with what I was saying. So she has all these wants and desires for me, and I had to I had to literally like break away. So my mom still thinks I'm a child. So she told me on Sunday, like, my cousin from Austria is here. He's gonna be here in an hour. You should come. Blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm 40 years old, mom. You think on a Sunday I had no plans and I'm waiting for you, like I'm 4 years old, to tell me what I'm doing today? I had no plans. But I specifically had no plans. I didn't want to do anything. I had met too many people recently. I needed to be alone. And this usually is like her way of saying, you see, you don't make time for your family, you don't love me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you need to communicate better. Tell me in advance and then I would come. Like, stop making it a no-win situation to validate that you're not loved, you know? This is your fault. You're shit at planning and communicating, lady. My whole life. And I'm not gonna ask her who's coming over every week. I don't, you know, I don't want to know anybody else. I'm full, thank you. Uh, and then instead of there being an argument or her talking down to me and telling me I'm neglecting her, she's like, "Okay, come over tomorrow." So I went. I went. I didn't want to, but and he had COVID also. It's like, why are you inviting me? Weren't you afraid this was death 3 years ago? Now it's like he has COVID, so just don't hug him. It's like, don't bring him in the house. I thought this disease works differently than all the other ones. Now all of a sudden, not a big deal. Weird. Weird. It's like I was right from the beginning. Weird. It's weird. Like when you're not afraid, you can think clearly. Who'da thunk it? Um. Anyways, I I'm seeing that like I was talking about how I think my ex is figuring things out and she's on the path to open that door. There's a lot of doors to open here. I would say that I opened every door before I opened the door that actually makes a change. Like you'll try anything else. You'll try to numb yourself and appease and blah 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 as long as you can. I stayed living with my mom as long as I could because I thought as soon as I leave, it's like we'll never see each other, mom. I don't like you. We would not be friends in real life. If you weren't related to me, I wouldn't want to know you. And I had to get away from her to love her properly. Like I had to stop feeling like she's sitting on my shoulders to be like, oh, like now I think that I know that I chose this mom, that she's the best mom I could have had because I have the best life I could have. Everything that I have in life now I owe to her. She did all the things right and all the things wrong to make me who I'm meant to be. And that's how the world works. All the good and bad have to happen. We get shaped more from the bad. So she motivated me to be a better person. Like she thinks she pushed me through school, and I was like, I didn't need school to make me smart. I'm fucking, you know, I got it anyways. So she takes credit for everybody else's success. It's like I did it for you. Um, and really, the truth of it is, it delayed my individuation, which delayed my fulfillment, which is success. It delayed me knowing who I am and what I want and who I should be and to get the things I actually want in life, not the things that she wants in life. Um, Even still, like it took me a long time to figure that out. Better late than never, but also divine timing. Perhaps I needed to learn late, and perhaps um, the people that I meet in life now, it's like maybe it took me a long time because I needed to cross paths with people later in life. If I went through it earlier, I would be farther ahead or in a different place or whatever. Um, Everything happens for a reason. It's up to us to trust that when we don't know why. And then eventually time will show us why. We'll figure it out. And that takes the pain out of it. That takes the anxiety out of it. It's always worked out. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. Um, what else? Meeting spiritual people. Yeah, I also think just like I needed to be out of a relationship with my ex for her to grow, and now I'm growing, and I'm meeting people that I was meant to meet, and I probably wouldn't have connected with or had the time and space for developing a relationship with. Um, yeah, and I was like holding on as long as I could, um, even though the whole time I knew like this has to be a dead end. Like the fucking ladybug is meant to die, but there's a symbol of rebirth there as well. Meant to, we'll see if I find another ladybug. And it was also interesting that that ladybug, instead of being red, it was kind of pale orange. It like lost its luster. It stayed past its expiry, no matter how much I tried to save it. Things are meant to die to be reborn. So there's a lot of spiritual lessons that talk about how you need to let go and how things need to break apart in order to be rebuilt back better. I'm not necessarily referring to the relationship, but I'm not counting it out either. I think my carnal mind wants to count it out so I can be like, fuck you, I'm gonna do my own thing, and I don't know what's gonna happen. I think that she has a choice to grow and match my energy and vibration. In which case, we would be a great communicative, loving couple because we are the same person essentially. But she has to make that choice, and I think if she doesn't do it, which is her prerogative and her choice, then the door, there's a window of time and opportunity, and that door will shut on its own, and the universe will bring us both new people to relive the same experience, to try it again, to repeat the level, and a new pattern will emerge, or we'll repeat the cycle. It's up to us basically. I think because of her age and her inexperience, like she just hasn't seen the cycle repeat enough to know that it's everyone is you pushed out. I think Neville Goddard said that. It's like everybody you see and meet, anything you think of them is you psychologically making that person. Everyone that triggers something in you. So no matter where you go, there you are. You can't escape that. You can't block and then never have the experience again. You're going to have the experience again because it's you. Quite literally, it's you. I've been waking up at 3 in the morning every night. I feel totally rested, but I keep thinking, like I try to just listen. I'm like, am I being told something? This is between 3 and 5. They say it's the bewitching hour. Like everyone's unconscious. So if there's a collective conscious, I basically have more RAM to download shit. I had some dreams last night. I don't remember. What's also interesting is after meeting my spiritual brother, I haven't heard from him. Went to his meetings. Even without him, I went to a second one without him. He's been curiously missing. He didn't ask me how I think about it. He hasn't asked me how I'm doing. I think everyone he connected me to is full of shit. So now, like, not just trusting his judgment. Now I'm wondering, like, how did you have the right answers if this is who you're hanging out with? So my other friend, she said so perfectly. She's like, I like our church better. It's like there's no rituals. There's no we're not copying something. It's like exchanging ideas is exchanging energy. You don't have to do this or fucking sound bowl and all of this shit. Like, if no one showed you that, you wouldn't be doing it. Shut the fuck up. 7 minutes of ohms. It's behind you. So, I think we're gonna start getting together weekly, like start like a spiritual club of our own. And this spiritual club isn't about rituals and fucking verbally blowing each other. I affirm any crazy shit you say. Your spirit guide told you to kill your family. Um, it's time to do good deeds. So I thought like we should like she's actually like an animal rights person, so like we can every week we can start doing things in the world to make it a better place, to like exchange our ideas and give positive energy to the world in some meaningful way. Either help at an old folks home or clean up trash, or I don't know. We'll figure it out. But that's what I wanted. That's what spirituality is, like becoming Japanese. I talk about this story where I was on Mount Fuji and I was sitting in a cafe outside. It's like it's Japan's beauty is like a different planet. It's hard to believe like this is a real place. You'd think someone drew it in a dream. Um, it's unbelievable, and every single Japanese person takes care of their environment. After like the tsunami or whatever, they like orderly waited in line to get supplies. There's it's incredible. Um, so I was, you know, sitting there feeling out of place, being the only like white guy around, and the wind picked up and a trash can knocked over, and every single person got up from their chairs and picked up trash and threw it away and picked up the trash can. And of course, because I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is what we're doing." I wouldn't have thought to do it, and now it's because I saw it. It's changed how I think. Why isn't everyone like this? An entire country of people like this? You think like the Germans are orderly and shit? The Japanese, something else, something else. Um, God bless them. I hope there's far more Japanese people in the world. Um, we should all become a little bit Japanese. Um, but that's the type of, they're the juxtaposition of like, you know, magnetic railways and technology in big cities, and then there's shrines everywhere, like beauty and nature everywhere at a truck stop. It's really incredible. They didn't lose where they came from. Here we have, and I was talking the uncle from Austria was saying that in like Germany and Austria, it says it's forbidden to sit on the grass, and he's like, Persians, we any place there's grass, like we want to sit and have a picnic. It's like we want to enjoy it. And there's like, no, look, don't touch. It's like why are we not part of nature anymore? It's forbidden. That's how they word it. It's forbidden to walk on the grass. It's interesting. Um, Especially considering the human body needs it. We can't be on artificial floor. Like how often throughout your day do your feet touch grass? Throughout the year, touch earth. You got shoes and socks on. You know, we're like disconnected from what made us. Weird. Um, so yeah, I every spiritual practice talks about grounding. I think I want to start just doing things that regularly scheduled things that I can, in an incremental way, improve the world or the quality of life or the happiness of the world around me. While I figure out what the next step is, while I figure out where God wants me to be and who to be and where to be and with who and whatever. And then whoever wants to come can come. So I think whatever is supposed to happen will materialize on its own. And it's interesting how many spiritually minded people I'm meeting now. Um, and it's also like it's a good gauge to see where I'm at compared to others. So like the guy I met yesterday is like very, I don't know what he does for work honestly, but um, I made his Ferrari shoot flames, and he's famous on the internet. He's loving it. Um, that'll help him be more famous, obviously. So he loves me, and we had a similar thing. You talked about reaching a certain level of success and realizing it wasn't fulfilling, and that's what the catalyst was to his spiritual awakening. And then he said a year ago he was living in Scottsdale, and then he's been manifesting the things that he wants in life. So he manifested a Lambo truck, I think first the McLaren, then the Lambo truck, then the Ferrari. And then he said he wanted to manifest a girlfriend. And then as we're talking, he says like, oh, he lives in Laguna Beach. And I was like, what gym do you go to? He goes to the same gym that I do. It's like, how the fuck? It's like, we weren't meant to cross paths until this. Never seen him before. Never seen his car before. Didn't know he existed. It's interesting. I bet you now I'll run into him all the time. It's like, which one do you go to? I was like, both. He's like, yeah, me too. And we were like at the same times. It's really wasn't meant to happen until now, I guess. Um, I don't know if we're gonna be BFFs or anything, but like his type of spirituality is still very much in the physical, getting things out of the physical world and manifesting physical things. And um, I lost that completely for a while. I might have gone a little bit, I think because of probably not an accident, because the people around me were so desperate for status, money, luxury goods. Like they made it clear that that's why they wanted me in their lives, is so that I provide these things for them. I fucking hated those things. And then like you go down the rabbit hole and you see like the Ahriman, like the lowercase g god of or devil in ancient Persia, is the god of materialism. And a lot of the symbolism and like Prada has a triangle. Like there's Balenciaga means the devil is king. When you're reading that, you're saying that. It's like you might not think there's a reason they do it. You might not think that's a big deal or anything, but like I know, I'm not guessing. I tried to ignore it, but to me, it's like it exists to trap you. If you seek those things, you can get them, but it's taking you away from what's really fulfilling, what really matters in life. Like I said, I'd rather have like a pure, loving relationship than anything else. I'd give it all away. I'd walk away from it right now. Like if the offer was move to a different country to be with the person that I stay awake at night and just stare at the stars and talk about life and the things that matter. It's like I would, no one will ever hear from me again. I don't need anything else. I believe I have to earn that still, but I have, like, I dropped my BMW off to get supercharged and put a 6 speed um, instead of a 5 speed manual in it. It's like I'm still here, so I still want to enjoy myself. It's not like I don't like nice things. Like I have like suits in my closet, and I bought an Armani suit. It's like I still, you know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily like I don't care if anything happens to it. I don't, you know what I mean? It's not where I have value, but it's still nice to have. I think that's the distinction. That's why it says in the Bible, it's easier for a camel to pass through an eye of a needle than a rich man to go to heaven. It's like the people who haven't found any type of spirituality and are obsessed with material gain and wealth, like stepping over other people to get it and stuff. It's like they'll be trapped in hell. It's a spiritual trap, materialism. And just because you become spiritual doesn't mean you don't get nice things and don't enjoy yourself. You live in abundance. Abundance means you have more than enough. And when I decided to buy I don't know, the supercharger was expensive, and then the installation was expensive, and it's like I don't think I'll get the money back when I sell the car. But when I drive the car, I want to enjoy it. Um, I want to have something unique. So it's one of a kind. It's the only one that color and that spec and that all the shit that I did to it. But I'm not like sitting here upset. The car's been done. I haven't picked it up. It's been done since last week. I don't actually care. It's not defining me. I'm not chasing. And I thought that I need to start using my money in order for the universe to give me more. And when I decided to drop that car off, I would say that work was kind of slow. And then once I dropped it off, I started thinking all the time, how am I going to make money? I need to make money. And then that took more real estate here instead of I'm heartbroken or what am I going to do? And, I'm sick. I don't feel good. My tummy. Like all that shit went away. And then the floodgates open. I got a new dealership that it seems like I have work at every week. It's a new stream of income that like they would have 4 cars this week. If they have 4 cars every week, it's a huge bump in my income. They're not expensive jobs, but just me doing the right thing in life, I get rewarded. And if I could teach people that, like money comes when you just do the right thing by people and by yourself, like be authentic. I've been accused of being a lot of things, but nobody calls me inauthentic. People might think I'm rude or an asshole or whatever, but I'm never accused of being inauthentic. This is who I am. I'm free. I gotta get to work or the gym, depending on what's going on. I have to see what kind of messages I have, and yeah, also figure out where to do spiritual stuff. So I'll get on that. I'll see you when I see you, and I love you, and go fuck yourself.